We're good. I think we're good. Well, welcome to this is still day 4. It's technically day 5, but I didn't finish yesterday's because we talked about Sodom and Gomorrah so much. There was so much to talk about, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, so I can't even complain. But our verses were 19 through 24, and we only got through 19. So that's great. So we're gonna finish it today. We're gonna finish yesterday today, and then we'll probably get behind until I get a night to do two in one day. We're just gonna be behind a day, which is okay. If I have to be behind a day to study the Bible, that's okay. Anyway, yeah. Welcome to my study. Welcome back. Hopefully, if you haven't watched any, we're not too far into it, so you could easily go back and watch the first couple streams. I know the streams are long, but studying. Today we are starting on chapter 20. This is my personal study of the Bible, reading through the whole Bible in 6 months. Um, this is all my initial reactions to reading the Bible. It's not deep theological, it's just something to jog my mind as I read the Bible instead of just reading it and putting it out of my mind, going through it to actually make it stick, and also holding myself accountable to actually read the Bible. Because this would be the first time that I ever read the Bible all the way through in one sitting, I guess. So every day I have a new snack. Or I'm gonna try to have a new snack every day. For today, we have this Old Dutch restaurant style. I don't normally eat this, but I got it for a New Year's party and didn't eat any of it. And we have like 4 bags of tortilla chips. Oh yeah, it's not just the sauce. I also have tortilla chips. Um, we have like 4 leftover bags of chips, and so now we gotta chow down on this so that it doesn't go bad. So I'll give it. I started ranking them yesterday. I'll give it a snack rating. The crunching would be super loud. Maybe should I show a crunch? Nice solid crunch. Not stale yet. I'm gonna be honest. I've never had Old Dutch cheese before. It is pretty good. Cheese is cheese, but sometimes I could see the cheese being pretty bad. So this cheese is pretty good. I would say I couldn't eat it all the time, but it's very good. It tastes very good right now. I will give it a 7 out of 10. Very good. Most likely all these rankings are going to be high because I'm eating them because I like them. So they're all going to be high rankings, which is okay. So it's basically, am I going to give it a 7 or a 10? Through a 10. Anyway. Yeah, I don't remember if I like had anything else that I was saying throughout the other days. Anyway, let's have a little recap of what we went over. Still beginning of Genesis, so everything's still new. Adam and Eve, Noah, introduced to Abraham, and we have these visitors. They visit Abraham. They tell Sarah that she's gonna have a child, and then they go and destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. well, God destroys Sodom and Gomorrah, but we know that God was there at some point. One thing I'm going to point out. First of all, I listened to my little podcasting that I listened to. A million thoughts in my mind about the past 19 chapters that we listened to that I want to go over. But to save time, I'm not going to do that. But one thing I want to say, just a thought-provoking thing, because it's a gray area. I was talking a lot yesterday about how there's a lot of confusion about the Lord being there, whether that's Jesus or whether it's some other way. But it made me think, like, maybe this Lord talking to Abraham is the same Lord that was walking in the garden, because as we know that no one, God tells, is it Abraham or God tells one of them that God says no one can see his face and live, right? But we know Abraham's talking to him right now. He is in some capacity here, and also he is in the garden with Adam and Eve walking around. Now we don't know, they hid from him, but in some capacity he was in the garden. So maybe this Lord is the same Lord that was in the garden. Whether Jesus was in the garden, some kind of pre-incarnate Jesus, and he was also here, or just something completely different that we don't know. Something that doesn't matter. It's fun to think about. Important to ponder, but doesn't affect the truth of the Bible. So I thought that was fun to think about. But we see Abraham's faith. So now I have already read. I actually listened to him today. I didn't specifically read him, but I listened to him. I've already read. Today is 20 through 24. So if you didn't read it yesterday, if you watched yesterday's, pause right now, go through, read either just 20, come back and go chapter by chapter, or read 20 through 24, and then come back and we'll go through the whole thing, and yeah, study with me. Allow your brain to work, not just allowing someone else to tell you everything that you learn, right? That's the goal. So this is a crazy chapter, right? Because it's a hit of deja vu. Because Abraham goes and does the exact same thing that he did before, that got him in trouble before, and he just does the same thing. Abraham goes to the region Negev, and Abimelech, king of Gerar, sorry, I got mixed up. We have Abimelech, the king in that region, and Abraham again. I guess it's right here. I forget that it's literally in front of me on the screen. Abraham's like, she's my sister. This is deja vu. We saw he just did this a couple chapters ago. She's my sister because he was scared that they were going to kill him. And Abimelech took her, sent for her and took her. And then God came to Abimelech and was like, you're good as dead because of the woman you have taken. She's a married woman. I just imagine, like, Abimelech poops his pants right now because he's like, I didn't know, right? Like, he had no idea. And he gets threatened. Threatened seems a little bit harsh, but he gets threatened. You are as good as dead because of the woman. And he's probably terrified. Luckily, by the glory of God, Abimelech had not gone near her. So he said, would you destroy an innocent nation? Because he hasn't done anything, and he didn't know. He was innocent by, oh no, what's the word? I always do this to myself. He was innocent by negligence. He didn't know. He didn't know. She is my sister. Abraham said that, and didn't he? She also say he is my brother. Like, you would think if they said that he would know. He had a clear conscience. One thing I gotta point out that I might have to take just a second to find. So I don't remember if I mentioned it the first time that Abraham did this or not, but it's funny how Abraham kind of creates this situation, and Abimelech, or where's the other one? Abraham in Egypt. The Pharaoh's official. God kind of punishes them first instead of talking to Abraham. Now, obviously, God's plan is God's plan. You know, we don't know what God's plan is, but it's just funny. Like, that's what happens, and in His mercy, He doesn't just like kill all of them because they did that. He knew better, and whether that was to teach Abraham specifically or teach them something, who knows? Probably taught both of them, most likely. But what I was gonna find was okay. So I know I said there was a million things before that I wanted to talk about, but this is something that I actually want to point out because I didn't realize it until I listened to this guy, Kyle, I think his name is. So this is the going back to this is chapter 12, the call of Abraham, and God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 things that God tells Abraham that he will gain. There's 7. And each one of them is very important and very true. So this is 12:2. First one, I will make you into a great nation, which we know is true. Whether that's talking about literally his descendants because they'll become a lot of people, but specifically the Christians that will arise from Abraham. That's his great nation, and they're infinite and they're ever growing. It's a great nation, right? I will bless you. That's number 2. Just straight up, he will be blessed. 3, I will make your name great, which it is great, right? Like, still today, thousands of years in the future, everyone knows the name of Abraham. You know, Father Abraham had many sons. That song, everyone knows Abraham, and his name is great, right? Like, when we think of Abraham, we think of the father of Christians. Like, that's a great name. You couldn't really have much greater name other than Jesus or God, right? Or maybe Paul. So great name. You will be a blessing, which is just an absolutely amazing thing to tell someone. Like, hey, you're gonna be a blessing. Like, no matter where you go, you're just gonna be great. Like, you're gonna be a blessing wherever you go. Then the 2 that I want to get into. I will bless those who bless you. That's 1, and whoever curses you, I will curse. So this is what kind of correlates with these two stories that we're on now. I will bless those who bless you, and curse you who curse and curse those who curse you. So Abraham, we know, is a very godly man, and God is with him through everything, and seems like a very wise person, right? And God trusts that within him, specifically through all these blessings that he gives him. And so God would never do something unjust, obviously, like through Abraham, but Abraham, these people are about to sin against Abraham, even though Abraham maybe did it wrong, did it the wrong way. They were going to sin against him, and in turn, God then cursed these people. We see later that he also made it so none of the women in this place could have children because of Abimelech's actions. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to find where that is. For the Lord had kept all the women of Abimelech's household from conceiving because of Abraham's wife Sarah. So, because Abraham walked with the Lord was on his side, and even when Abraham messed up, God kept his promise, curse those who curse you, bless those who bless you, right? So yeah, that's just an interesting perspective on like why would Abraham not be told off for this? Because if Abraham is truly wise, and if Abraham truly loves the Lord and seeks the Lord, he's gonna know what he did was wrong, right? You kind of go through those cycles. We can't be perfect. We're always gonna fall back into sin. But as Christians, you should be able to then recognize the sin. That's a part of growing. You recognize the sin and you change your actions based on that. Now, obviously, Abraham, this was a tough one for him, so he had to go through it twice. And then he didn't teach his child well enough so that his son would do it as well. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, just an interesting perspective on this. And then the last one I'll point out: all the people on earth will be blessed through you, which was true. If Abraham was the father of the nations, then all the people on earth are blessed because he allowed us through God to have Jesus, I guess is how I'll put it, which is kind of cool. Not kind of, it is cool. Okay, back to 20. I gotta go faster. I talk too much. Again, it's like, it's not a bad thing, but what a tough interaction to have with Abimelech and Abraham. Like, how awkward do you think Abraham feels? How awkward do you think Abimelech feels? Like, oh, I'm sorry that I did that. Shouldn't have done that, but you kind of lied to me. uh, what was your reason for doing this? I said to myself, there is surely no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of his wife. So that kind of puts in perspective, like, what's going on here, because he sees that, or he at least thought, there's no fear of God. Like, this is a sinful place, and they'll kill me. When it's interesting that, like, God came to Abimelech in a dream. So Abimelech had to have, now maybe if God comes in that way, anyone would believe, but he had to have some kind of faith to be like, yes, this is God. I mean, and if he was terrified, he's gonna listen to him. Like that's not worth it, right? Not worth it to risk not listening. And then the excuse of a lifetime. She really is my sister. Terrible excuse, but then Abimelech gave a bunch of stuff to Abraham, um, and he returned Sarah. My land is before you. Live wherever you like. To Sarah he said, I am giving your brother 1,000. Oops, Siri popped up. I'm giving your brother 1,000 shekels of silver. This is to cover the offense against you before all who are with you. You are completely vindicated. Which I wonder if it says it different in. This is to cover the offense against you before all. Oh, it says that in here too. So also saying, I'm giving you all the. He gave them all of this stuff to show that he didn't do anything wrong. Like because rumors might go around that he would go, but he gave them all this stuff to be like, hey, you guys all saw that I didn't do anything wrong. Okay. Then Abraham prayed to God. Oh yeah. So then when God was speaking to him, now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. So if I had to guess, again, I'm not a very theologically deep person yet in my life, but if I had to guess, God used this to maybe at least to show Abimelech the faith in God. If I don't know if he did or not, I don't know if he comes back in the story. But obviously God's plan is ultimately for his glory. So he did this thing so that he'll be prayed for. Healed Abimelech, his wife. A million for a million different reasons. Then we have this amazing test of faith. This amazing. Okay, I was a little ahead of myself. This is still amazing, but finally, after what was it, 5 promises, Sarah finally has Isaac in his old age. At the very time God had promised him. Oh, look at that. God is faithful. Who would have guessed? He circumcised him as God commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. That's pretty cool. Sarah said, God had brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. This is kind of a reflection of when a year ago when the men came to Sarah, told her she was gonna have a baby, and she laughed to herself in the tent. And they're like, "Why are you laughing?" Is a reflection of that, kind of in 2 different ways. The first time maybe was a reflection of doubt, and this time was a laughter of joy, a laughter of I don't know. She's kind of just saying like God has a sense of humor, and I am so old, and yet who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse a child? Yet I have borne him, and I just imagine she is so filled with joy. I know there's a theological meaning in this that I just can't remember off the top of my head right now. So I'm just gonna keep going. So there we have another tough family situation. Just know that no matter how difficult your family is, it's been that way from the beginning of the world, from the first murder of the first people on earth. Hagar and Ishmael was mocking. Oh, yeah. Okay. The son, whom Hagar was mocking. So Ishmael was mocking Isaac. And she went to Abraham. This continual conflict between jealousy and just not respecting others, right? So she went to Abraham, told him to get rid of the slave, um, because she was. I mean, it seems like jealousy. Like she did not want Isaac to share the inheritance with Ishmael, and the matter distressed Abraham greatly because it concerned his son, which makes sense, right? Like to Sarah, Ishmael isn't her son. So maybe Ishmael means a little bit, but like Ishmael could just mean nothing to her, right? If it's her servant's son, he should mean something to Sarah, but who knows? It seems like she's always kind of had a butt heads with Hagar a little bit. But to Abraham, like that's his son. Both of them are his son. Um, and he was distressed, but God calms and calms Abraham. Do not be so distressed about the boy and your slave woman. Do whatever Sarah tells you, because through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. So God's plan was bigger than anything Sarah or Abraham thought. And he knew that Isaac was the heir to the nations, right? So God needed this all to happen for his perfect plan to play out. But in his glory, he didn't just send them away. He will make the son of the slave into a nation also. He doesn't just outcast them for no reason. So then they leave, and there's kind of a parallel to the first time that Hagar leaves, when she first gets pregnant with Ishmael, and she's off alone in the desert. And let me go back real quick. Before, Hagar was by a spring, and now she put the boy under one of the bushes. Probably again, like last time, she was just terrified. She was distressed. She could not watch the boy die. She began to sob. So she was definitely distressed, right? Her heart was probably broken, um, felt hopeless. But from before, what she made this term, God El Roi, the God who sees. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven. Do not be afraid. We always get this comfort term, which is awesome. Do not be afraid. I've heard the boy. I've seen him. He's the God who sees. Lift the boy up and take him, for I will make him into a great nation. Perhaps this is what's restoring Hagar's faith. That's why she had to be put in this situation, to restore her faith. And this is interesting. God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. This is something that is super relevant. And I'm talking about God opening her eyes. I specifically see this between people, because there's been times, multiple times, that I've been around someone my entire life, or like in school or something. Like I'm with these people all day, every day in school, but never talked to them before. And all of a sudden, one day, I talk to them, and it's like, oh, we have a lot in common. Or you become best friends, even though you've been together all this time and never talked to each other. Like, God has his ultimate plan. And so sometimes he shuts our eyes so that we don't see things. And sometimes he opens our eyes so that we don't see things. Also, similar when we're reading the Bible, like God opens our eyes to certain things, what we need to hear that day, which is also why you can read the Bible over and over and over and over again, so that you're always satisfied, because God opens your eyes to certain things that you see. It's kind of an important topic to know and kind of understand or believe, because it changes your perspective on all of life. Like, God is in control of those things. I love how it just says, God was with the boy as he grew up. Lived in the desert, became an archer. His mother got away from him. It's almost like I know it's not the ending, but it's almost like a happily ever after at the end. She's just like, he grew up with God and he got a wife. Happily ever after. So here we are back to Abimelech. Where we see Abimelech recognizing God. God is with you in everything you do. And Abimelech, rightfully so, is probably scared of Abraham, because he knows the power of God. He's seen it firsthand. He's scared. So he wants to ally with Abraham, because that way Abraham's not going to rain destruction on him, right? Because God is all powerful, and even if he doesn't believe in God, he recognizes that God is powerful, and he doesn't want to deal with that. So he kind of tries to truce with Abraham. Swear you will not deal falsely with me or my children. Excuse me. And Abraham swore it. Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well of water that his servants have seized. And like men should do, right? We should learn from these two of how to resolve conflicts. Abraham brought up the situation. Abimelech's like, I don't know who has done this. You did not tell me, and I heard about it only today. We have the call, we have the response, and how they solved it. Abraham brought sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a treaty. Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs from the flock, and Abimelech asked Abraham, what is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs you have set apart by themselves? He replied, accept these 7 lambs from my hand as a witness that I dug this well. So the place was called Beersheba because the two men swore an oath there. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the Lord, the eternal God. And Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines for a long time. They solved the treaty by not fighting, by giving each other things, right? Abraham gave Abimelech things to kind of like solidify their treaty, to say we're not going to have these troubles. I'll stop yawning one day. Here we go. This is what I was thinking that I was reading before. Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, take your son, your only son who you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. I'm assuming you've heard this story before. God tells Abraham to sacrifice his son, and Abraham brings him up on the mountain, is about to kill him, and God says, hold up, I have brought you this lamb to replace Isaac, because you don't kill your son, right? Because God is gracious, and he's loving, and he's kind. First thing that I want to point out that just came to me today as I was reading this is going back to specifically Cain and Abel, but just kind of the idea in life that we are to give God our first fruits. In the course of, this is Genesis chapter 4. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering, and Abel also brought an offering, fat portions from some of the firstborn of his flock. And the Lord looked in favor on Abel, which that leads to us. We are to give God our first fruits of our labor, not the leftovers, not us using what we need and then giving it back. Giving him the first fruits is showing him that we trust him, not let me figure it out and then I'll give you the extra. It's no, God, I trust you with all of my stuff. You deserve this. You deserve all of this, and I'll deal with the rest, right? So then that made me think as I was reading this that this is what Isaac is doing, but instead of like your firstborn lambs or your first crops from the field, it's his firstborn son. And so what's happening is God is saying, or Abraham's saying, God, you gave me this son. You deserve everything. And spoiler alert, children can be idols in our lives. Children are difficult right? And so they can be distracting. Um, but they, as well as your wife or your husband, are not more important than God. And you have to have your relationship with God first in order to have the best relationship with your children, wife, husband. Um, and also, we were in a Bible study one time, and someone brought up that perhaps Abraham, in this moment, Isaac was an idol for Abraham, and maybe Abraham wasn't being fully faithful to God because of Isaac. And so then God is asking him, like, Abraham, if you truly love me like you say you do, sacrifice your son for me. That's kind of like the idea of giving up your idols for God, um, which is what we're called to do, right? And Abraham in faith did that. He brought he brought his son up and was willing to do that. If we skip to the end, um, um, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. Think of how worried he was before about not having a son. Like he's like, God, I need a son for my descendants. So once he has his son, how worried do you think he's gonna be? Like, now that I have this son, like I gotta keep this son. And he's probably super distracted on it. Probably. I don't know. Um, this is obviously like when I think of tests of faith, or probably most people, when you think of test of faith, like this is one of the top tier ones. I don't know many people that could actually have the faith to do this. Okay, so okay, I just remembered. Yeah, so that I just remembered where that came from. So when you read it, God first states, "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac." He states that. Um, and again, I think he says it again. Okay, maybe not again. But he starts by saying, "Take your son, your only son, whom you love." And then after he does this test of faith, he just says, "You have not withheld from me your son, your only son." You It says again, "You have not withheld your son, your only son." Kind of it's just this phrase, "whom you love," almost could signify like obviously he loves his son, but like maybe it was more than just the base level love. Maybe it was an idol. I don't know. That's just a throw out, but it makes sense to me. I mean, it makes sense that we are to sacrifice our idols, um, and if we can't let our kids become an idol to God, because otherwise that's going to ruin our relationship with our kids, right? Or our wife or anything. I don't know. This is another sec. I mean, I say this all the time. I'm going to say this so much, but there's so much in this. There's so much in this. I wish I could just spend 2 hours talking about just this section, but not my goal. My goal is to just get my brain pumping and specifically for remembering. I just want to like be able to remember as much as I can about chapters and where stuff is in the Bible. Then we have some more sons. I'm gonna skip that. Then we have the death of Sarah. This goes through Abraham accepting a place to be buried, and this goes back to my statement about in the call of Abraham. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great. You will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and curse you who curse those who cursed you, and all people on earth will be blessed through you. Um, this is a little bit about the I will make your name great, because he is, well, Sarah, he is also buried in a place that basically like the highest of kings get buried there. I'm trying to think of where it is. I don't know where it is, but basically he's buried in the same spot that like kings are buried. So that's another way like his name is great, or he is blessed. Just a small little detail. Hebrews 11:17 through 19. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. He who had embraced the promises was about to sacrifice his one and only son, even though God had said to him, "It is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned." Could that oh Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead, and so in a manner of speaking, he did receive Isaac back from death. That's awesome. I'm writing it down. Hold up. I haven't continued this, but this was meant to be my note sheet for everything. Let's see. Genesis 22. Oops. That's something that I strive. It's going to take a lot of practice, but like learning New Testament, memorizing way more scripture to know those off the top of my head, because the guy that I'm watching go deeper into these does such a good job, specifically in just the beginning of Genesis, because there's a million like Paul talks about Abraham all the time, things like that, and he just rattles off verse after verse in the New Testament about callbacks and call forwards to Jesus. And it's like I strive to learn that one day. And that's basically the main big picture reason that I'm trying to just go through the whole Bible so I can get a big picture look at everything. And obviously it just takes studying and time to do that, but I'm excited to get to that point one day. Then lastly in 24 we have this cool interaction where Abraham wants Isaac to get married, and so he sends his servant to find a specific wife, and his servant has a lot of faith in God, and well, he asks God if this is the right person to have her do this, and she does that, and he is just so excited about it. He wants to tell everyone about what God did in his life through someone else. He wants to tell everyone about what God did in someone else's life through him, and I just love his excitement, and he's just like, tell this person, tell this person, tell this person. Exactly, like it literally lists what happened, and then it lists it again because he's just so excited that he said every detail about this. And then, yeah, Isaac got a wife. Since it's getting late, I'm not going to go too in depth in that, but so much faith in chapter 24. It's just like everyone is in faith. The servant is going to find this wife and praying to God to find the right one, trusting that he is going to bring him the right one, sharing the news of God through this interaction. And then Rebecca's family is like trusting in God that it's his plan that she's going to leave, and she trusts everything. It's just like so much faith in this chapter. Just a nice all-around positive chapter, which we don't get too many of those in Genesis. Normally there's some kind of twist. But yeah, that's day 4. I gotta work tomorrow, so I gotta go to bed. That was a good section. I wish I had infinite amount of time to just sit here and study, and then study again, and then listen to other people talk about it more in depth, and then write about it. And I wish I had infinite time to do that, but I'm trying to learn the absolute significance of giving my time up to God, because it was and is so easy for me to get distracted, specifically by other YouTube stuff and just life in general, and kind of make this be the last thing in my day, which kind of what happened tonight. It was just like do other stuff first, get stuff ready. I'm glad that I mean I still did it, and that's why I'm. It's the main reason I'm streaming it, is because then it's forcing me to do it. But that's what I'm learning right now, is to if my faith is truly the most important thing in my life, then I'm gonna give him all my time. Um, and even though an hour seems like a lot, it's like I wish I could give him so much more. One day, one day when I shouldn't say that. I will keep trying every day. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll pray us out. Oh Lord, thank you for tonight. I thank you for just what you've been putting on my heart in the past 4 days, Lord, to step out in faith and just jump into the Bible like I've never done before, Lord, and just the joy that it's bringing me reading the Bible. And um, I just pray that if it's in your will, bless the videos and share the gospel to other people, Lord. And but more importantly, just speak in me, um, so that I can share the gospel to other people in the best of my abilities, but through you, Lord. Just pray that you give everyone a good night, everyone watching a good night. I pray that you give me rest and strength to work tomorrow, and that you just I lost my train of thought. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Thank you. I'm very glad you joined. Um, it's fun, and like I hope one day I'll have a lot of people watching, and I know that it's just a start. You know, I just started it, um, but it's cool to have people interacting as well. Um, Definitely not. I'm trying not to just like put on a show in front of the camera. That's why I'm trying to be open. Like I've never been good at reading my Bible. I, in fact, am terrible at reading my Bible. Um, but literally 4 days ago, when I started this, God just put on my heart to start this specifically because like I want to work with the youth more than I already am, um, in some capacity, and so he just put on my heart like the importance of me understanding the Bible. And I always had questions, and people always have questions, and I want to be able to answer them to the best of my ability. And that's a specific reason that I started reading the Bible right now, or doing this 6 month challenge, is because I want to get as much information as I can while retaining it, um, in a timely manner. But I appreciate you joining. Uh, yeah, love hearing insight. I love interacting with other Christians because it's just so awesome. Um, it's just awesome. I don't have anything else to say about it. It's just awesome seeing other believers. Gotta eat more chips. Awesome. Yeah, I should get to bed. Thanks for tuning in. And if if you can join, hope to see you again. Have a good night.